AI fails is that we treating it as substitute for employees. Traditional AI asks, how well can the machine do this work? Collaborative intelligence asks, how much better can team do these tasks with the machine? People hated talking to robots or AIs, and they switched to a collaborative mode. Then the result, they handle 3 times more tickets per hour, 5 stars rating.
Will collaboration still be possible, or do you think, will it replace humans? Welcome to the second episode of 2080 Ventures podcast, where we bring together the voices of entrepreneurs, angel investors, and venture capitalists to discuss different factors, challenges, and opportunities in the current startup ecosystem. We will promise that AI would make everything faster, smarter, and cheaper. But after billions of dollars and thousands of pilots, most companies are still asking one question: why isn't it working? And what if the real revolution isn't artificial intelligence but collaborative intelligence, where humans and machine thinking collaborate with one another? Today, we're going to discuss what collaborative intelligence is, its relevance to corporate innovations, as well as its challenges and opportunities. I'm your host, Sunguech. Today, we're joined by Choi, who is a startup ecosystem strategist and founding partners at 2080 Ventures, with extensive experiences in early stage investment, cross-border M&A, and corporate innovation. He has supported over 1,000 startups across Asia, the US, and MENA, driving their growth through acceleration, market entry, and strategic fundraising. Welcome, Sun, to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. So today we're going to talk about collaborative intelligence. McKinsey surveys and OECD report analysis show that AI adoption within corporation, it is widespread, but despite huge investment into AI, many of AI projects stall before producing any measurable business value. And the common reported causes include poor data, weak problem framing, and missing KPI tracking. So that means the success rates remain pretty low. So I just want to ask, from your perspective, what is the fundamental reasons that AI hasn't delivered on its promise?
Thanks for the question. So let me just clarify the definition of AI in those reports. So they are mentioning about failure in generative AI, not just AI in general. So people fail to implement generative AI rather than the whole AI itself. So the problem is that most companies are trying to build a magic box. They want to feed a problem into AI and get a perfect solution out with zero human involvement. So this is the recipe for failure. The foundation reason AI fails is that we treating it as substitute for employees rather than a super suit for them. And it's like a first version of Iron Man suit, right? But people think AI as autonomously do everything for me version. So when you try to replace a human entirely, the error rate of the AI destroys all the trust. But when you use AI to support a human, that's like 10% error is easily caught, and the 90% speed boost creates massive value. So we are over-investing in automation and under-investing in collaboration.
I find your answer really interesting, especially when it comes to AI replacing humans and how it can destroy the trust. And there are many firms that treat AI as a substitute for human judgment rather than an amplifier of it. So from your perspective, what are its negative outcomes?
There are 2 things happens. One is the pilot trap, and 2 is brain drain. So first, you get stuck in the pilot trap and you build a demo that works in controlled lab. But the moment you put it in the real world, it fails because it lacks human context. And the second is brain drain. If employees feels the AI, there is still their job. They start feeding it good ideas or good knowledge. So you end up having a dumb AI because the humans who are real experts refuse to train their replacement. Collaborative intelligence flips this. It makes humans feel more powerful, so they want to use the tool.
So that's actually very insightful. And now that we have talked and mentioned a little bit about collaborative intelligence, can you expand on that that a little bit more? Like, what are the objectives of collaborative intelligence as opposed to just artificial intelligence?
The traditional AI asks, how well can the machine do this work? Collaborative intelligence asks, how much better can team do these tasks with the machine? So objective is 1 + 1 = 3, not 2. We want the machines to do the robot work, which is data crunching, pattern recognitions, drafting. We want the human to do the human work, which is strategy, empathy, ethical judgment, and last mile decision making. The goal isn't about just efficiency. It's capability expansion. So we want to do things we literally couldn't do before.
So with its objective as a collaboration between human and AI, can you tell us what collaborative intelligence actually looks like inside a corporation day to day? Like, is it a new workflow, a new mindset, or a new governance model?
It is a workflow sandwich. It's like top slice. The human defines the goal and strategy, and the meat, the AI generates the options, drafts, or the code, and the bottom slide, the human reviews, refines, and approves the final output. Day to day, it looks like an open innovation mindset. So you stop thinking, I have to do this myself, and start thinking, who or what can help me draft this in 5 seconds. So it changed the employees from a task doer to a task manager.
You've introduced this really interesting concept of employees being a task manager instead of a task doer. It seems all very doable to corporations, something that corporations can change, but there are still some companies struggling to adopt this type of strategy. So what organizational barrier prevents company from adopting collaborative intelligence models? Is it cultural, structural, or technological?
So it is 90% cultural, in my opinion, and in many large, especially Asian conglomerates and even some Silicon Valley firms, we have a zero defect culture. People are afraid to show their work is like half done. But AI always produces work that is half done. So it requires polishing. If your culture punishes making mistakes, no one will use AI because they are afraid of the hallucination that we are always having. And you need a culture that says it is okay to use AI's the imperfect draft as long as you make the final version perfect.
Can you share a case where moving from a pure AI approach to collaborative intelligence actually improved the outcomes in a positive way?
Yeah, let's look at customer support. So an alumni company of 2080 Ventures tried to use pure AI chatbot to handle 100% of tickets. And customer satisfaction score crashed. People hated talking to robots or AI that didn't get it what the customer was looking for. And they switched to a collaborative model. So now the AI whispers the answer to the human agent in real time. And the human agent reads it and adds a personal touch. So checks for errors and hits send. Then the result, they handle 3 times more tickets per hour, speed of AI, but kept like 5 stars rating, which is empathy of human.
That's actually a really good outcome. So how can companies ensure transparency and explainability in AI systems so human collaborators can trust and challenge outputs?
So you need confidence scores, not just answers. So when the AI gives a recommendation, it shouldn't just say, do something. It should say, I am 85% sure you should do this because the data points of A and B and C, with this allows human to be the judge. So if the score is low, the human investigates. If the score is high, the human approves quickly. So transparency comes from the showing the logic, not just the result.
That's really insightful. So I just want to know from your view, which industry are likely to adopt collaborative intelligence the fastest and why? Are there any sectors that you think where this model is not suitable?
So I'm thinking of healthcare and law will be the fastest. Why? Because of cost of error is too high for pure automation. So you cannot have an AI judge or an AI surgeon working alone. So the liability is too big, but these professionals are drowning in data. So they need AI to read files, but they must make the final calls. It is unsuitable for low risk, like high volume tasks, like sorting like huge database, or routing logistics. So those should be fully automated.
So when we talk about AI and its automation in corporate innovation, if AI system becomes like highly autonomous in the future, will collaboration still be possible, or do you think, will it replace humans?
Yeah, I hear this question a lot. So collaboration will not only be possible, but essential. So the key is that the line of collaboration will just move up the value chain. 10 years ago, we collaborated with software for spelling check. Today, we collaborate with AI for drafting code and generating marketing campaigns, So in the future, like we will collaborate with AI on corporate strategy and global market entry. So AI will certainly take the tactical decision, which is the repetitive, data-heavy tasks. Humans will retain the three non-negotiable roles. Number one, the strategist, setting the vision and defining success, which is why. And the ethicist, so making the moral and social judgment. So is it right kind of thing. And the empathy, so designing the value based on the human experience, what human wants. While AI is rapidly increasing productivity and decreasing transactional salary costs, the complete replacement of human is still far more than a decade away. Especially within established corporates. Why? Because the real-world corporate operating system is complex, such as regulation and security, right? So large enterprises cannot simply plug AI into core business process without addressing data security requirements, regulatory compliances like the GDPR, HIPAA. Like for instance, if you are firing someone in the US, probably you can fire easily, but like in Korea and Japan, for instance, you cannot just fire people, which requires labor laws. So these constraints require human oversight and liability. And there's legacy system too. So many corporations still rely on complex, secure on-premise servers and bespoke systems too. So integrating cutting-edge cloud-based AI into infrastructure is a massive, slow, human-led engineering challenge. And the architect remains human, right? So ultimately, as long as humans are the ones buying the product and voting on the governance. So human will need to be the ones designing the value, defining the risk, and certifying the safety of the output. So the tools will get better, but the architect, the final judge, and the ethical steward remains human.
So you raise a really great point, which leads me to the questions that I want to ask you, after our discussion, turning it into actual implementation. What do you think is one practical step that company can take tomorrow, for example, to shift their AI agenda from just automation to actual collaboration?
I'll say stop asking which job can we replace. Start asking which tasks do our best employees hate doing. Identify the drudgery, the boring data entry, summarizing, the scheduling. So give them AI tools to kill those tasks. You will instantly get collaborative intelligence because your team will love the AI for freeing them to do the creative work they were actually hired to do. So that is the quickest win.
That's a really good answer. So I really appreciate you for, talking about this topic. This is a very good step to us changing our mindset from, just simply like AI automation to actually collaborating with AI to do our repetitive tasks. So thank you very much, Sun, for joining today's podcast and coming on here to discuss on collaborative intelligence.
Of course. Thank you for the invitation again.
Yep. So that wraps up today's second episode. If you find this helpful, make sure to subscribe to 2080 Ventures and we'll see you in the next episode. Thank you.